it's Jo Granger here from Discovery College in an area of woodland that's fairly close to our school. Today I'm going to show you how you could make some woodland materials, some craft and so on from woodland materials. I've found quite a long piece of dead wood nearby, and I've used my bow saw to cut that into some smaller pieces ready to use. And now what I'd like to do is show you how you could go about splitting wood using a bill hook. This wood that I found is actually rotten through the middle. It's been lying there for some time, so I'm hoping that it will be fairly easy to split because of that. And then I'm thinking I want to split it into some thinner parts that we could use to make tent pegs, or we might use to make some little stick figures for storytelling with children. So over here I've got my bill hook, I've also got my sheath knife, I've got some paints in case I want to do some painting with what I'm making. I've got my safety glove, and I've also got a piece of firewood, which is extremely hard wood, and I'm using it as a mallet today to help me split this wood. This is quite a handy little workman's bench for this kind of activity. It's very portable when you're in the woodlands, so I've used that to wedge my wood together. And so what I'm going to do is aim to just cleave this wood apart using the help of my firewood here. Let's just bring that down to the sharper point. To split now, I can hear it. So I'm just going to loosen that off. You can see that the wood is splitting through here. I'm just going to take this off for now. Ease that out. So I think what I might do to get the pieces that I want is now to saw this. So I'm just going to put my bill hook here and use this just to saw through down to the split parts. Wedge that in there. So take the cover off my bow saw here. And again, using the respect position to stay nice and steady while we're working. Just ease that up a little bit, I think. A bit longer. This wood saws really nicely. And this is something that children could be doing under supervision. They could be working in partners to saw through the wood. Here we go, it's nearly through. As you can see, there is a hole right through the middle of this wood, and I can now begin to pull this apart where I've been splitting it with the bill hook. Guys, okay, so what we can do now is start to split this into smaller, thinner pieces, which we can use for tent pegs, and we can whittle that down. You could also make spoons from the wood. So many things that you could do with this. But I think I'm going to create some smaller pieces. Let me just show you one way of making a stick person. So I'm just going to lean on there and just very carefully saw a nice thin piece that we could use to make a stick person here. Slightly harder to saw against the grain this way. In fact, I might do it from the other side because that might be a little bit easier. Down this way perhaps. We wedge that in there, let's try that. even get my bill hook out again. Let's see. This is where the forest school program teaches resilience and patience in our learners and our staff. So I am going to try the bill hook to help me just get through this. I've made a little wedge with my saw. I'm going to use my firewood again. Okay, this is splitting quite nicely now. Do that a little bit more maybe. There we go. Okay, so you can see how you can get nice thin pieces of wood like this that you could use for all sorts of different things. I've already made a tent peg today. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do is make a nice little stick person that I could use for our forest school program. Again, just whittling down the wood into a nice point. This is a different kind of wood than I was using earlier today, and it's a little bit older. It's been sitting near a stream, so it's a bit damp as well. And whittles slightly less clean compared to the other piece I was using. So you could create a whole family or story of stick people. I want them to have a pointed hat. Coming more to a point now. It's quite a hardwood inside. You could even sand it a little bit actually. Make it smoother if you're going to paint on it. A little bit of sandpaper. Okay, so just to give you a quick idea, just put the cover back on my knife here, is I might give it, let's see, maybe they're going to have a sort of orangey face, orange all around, it's a wash. Over here, shall we? Looks like the base cover. My stick person. Purple hat. Ideally you could do with a higher pigment paint for this kind of thing. Or even some acrylic paints could be quite nice. This gives the idea. Or even some, homemade paints using natural woodland materials and plants would be lovely. And then thinking about the clothing and the face, some little eyes. Where should we put the face? Maybe here. Couple of eyes there. And then we want a nice bright red mouth. Close to dry. smiley mouth there. Oh, and then maybe some clothes would be nice. This is a forest character. So let's give them some nice green clothing. Let's dry that off. Should have brought some tissue. Let's do some nice green clothes. Lovely green dress. There we have a little stick character that could be used in so many imaginative and creative ways in a forest school program. Let me show you. There we have him or her. Thank you.